Why, hello there, YouTube, and welcome back to A History of Who. I am Davros, and I'm a Whovian, and yeah, we're back with our 13th episode. So yeah, in this one, we're going to be discussing the 13th Doctor's years. So as I said, in 2017, Peter Capaldi announced he was stepping down from the show, even though he was invited to return with new showrunner Chris Chibnall, who would be known for mainly Broadchurch, but had wrote for the show in the past, just not probably the best episodes. But yeah, he was leaving and they needed a new Doctor. And it was up in the air who would be the Doctor. But of course, in the summer of 2017, during a small broadcast, it was teased who the 13th Doctor was, and it revealed to be Broadchurch star Jodie Whittaker. This time they went all out and casted a woman in the role after years of debating, after years of discussion, and it being ruled out as a possibility. They finally went through with it. I mean, we had a female master, we had a female general, so yeah, why not, make the Doctor a woman? So they did. So yeah, Jodie Whittaker would go on to be the first woman to play the role of the Doctor. And like Stephen Moffat had said, this has been ruled out as a possibility for a long time. They're not breaking any rules. In fact, in the late 80s, they were considering having a woman Doctor, such as Joanna Lumley, but they opted to keep it as a man, and we had Sylvester McCoy. So, yes, Jodie Whittaker was the new Doctor. And of course, with new Doctors, we needed new companions, and it was also revealed that former Coronation Street star and the Chase presenter Bradley Walsh would join as one of the companions. Of course, Bradley Walsh, no strange to the Whoniverse, he appeared in a two-part episode of the Sarah Jane Adventures as well. But he was in a different role back then, playing an evil clown. And of course, we got two newcomers, former Hollyoaks star Mandip Gill as Yasmin Khan, and Tosin Cole, if I'm pronouncing that right, as Ryan Sinclair, the step-grandson of Graham O'Brien, who would be Bradley Walsh's character. So yeah, after Christmas Day 2017, it was a long wait, but I would say worth it, because on the 7th of October, this time we had a change to the schedule. Instead of the Saturday nights, Doctor Who got moved to Sunday nights, where apparently it would have less competition with other rival channels and shows. Which I thought, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Let's have it on a Sunday. Because at this point I was like, I had a bit of a life and was going out more on Saturday night. So yeah, I was fine with this. So yeah, carrying not long after the end of the Christmas special, we come here to Sheffield, my home city. Yeah, Sheffield. And they even had the premiere of the first two episodes in the Moor Sheffield. I was unaware of this, so I didn't go, but I got jealous of some friends that actually ended up being there. And also, I noticed in 2018, in the early 2018, bits of Sheffield were being closed off, including the Park Hill area, because it was rumoured, and they were not rumours, they were true, that Doctor Who was being filmed in Sheffield. I was like, oh wow. And it were. And the first episode was set in Sheffield, where, Sheffield, I think Chris Chibnall's from Sheffield, and I think that's why he'd like to set this era around it. I think. Yeah. Yeah, I think he referenced Sheffield as well in Broadchurch. But yeah, Sheffield. And I actually felt, wow, Sheffield is actually playing a part in Doctor Who. I thought that was insane and great, and I loved it. So yeah, Doctor Who returned with 12 episodes. Now, Chris Chibnall wanted the show to be a fresh start for newcomers as well. So first of all, he said, this series we would not have any classic monsters or foes return. It would be like the new Doctor with new companions, with new threats, new enemies. So we had 12 episodes, which I thought were good. The first episode I thought I really liked, where she came across this alien called Stemshaw, or Timshaw as she pronounced it. And then after her first episode, we carry straight on into the Ghost Monument where she looks for the TARDIS. And we see a new refurbed TARDIS as well. And then we see her go to the past where she encounters Rosa Parks and is involved in a big historical event of that time with Rosa Parks. If you know your history, you know Rosa Parks. Then we end up back in Sheffield where we get giant spiders, rummaging around. And then also we get an unlikable character called Gloss, who is an American guy who we see return in a New Year's special. Yeah, and then in the series finale we see, Stimshaw return again, where the Doctor faces him and does away with him. So yeah, excuse me. So we had Jodie Whittaker's first series, series 11, where, it was a new start. Now, when this got out about a woman being the Doctor, if you asked me during David Tennant's run, I was against it. I was against the idea and I wasn't with it. I thought the Doctor should stay as a man. But over time, I warmed up to the idea. I got used to it. I even wrote a bit of my own fan fiction where I made the Doctor a woman. And I thought, yeah, okay. I mean, I guess they got to try something different. It's either that or a black man. And they went with a woman, but black, would get to that eventually. So, yeah. At this point, I thought, okay, yeah, we've had 12 or 13, if you count John Hurt, great actors that are men play the Doctor. Let's see what a woman can do. So I was like all up for that. So I quickly adapted to the she is the Doctor trope. My mum even got me a shirt for Christmas that year saying, trust her, she is the Doctor. So yes, we, had a woman Doctor. And she had an alright first series. I mean, a few weak episodes, but this was still her first series. I was willing to give this a chance. But it felt weird not having a Christmas special. Christmas Day 2018, no Doctor Who. But New Year's Day 2019, we did get one special. And it did feature a Dalek. And I was like, yes, good, we got a Dalek. At least one, and I was okay with that. I thought, yes, now she truly is the Doctor, and I loved it. And yeah, we got, a New Year's Day special called Resolutions, where a Dalek was on a rampage and was up to its old deeds. And then, of course, the Doctor banishes it and saves it in time, saves the day, and everyone's back in time for tea. Ryan reconciles with his father and stuff, and then so it was the end of a decade. So it was the final year of a decade, and that was it for a year. We got a gap year. See, that's something I didn't really like much about Chris Chibnall's era. There was just the gap years, the big 18-month gaps, which I weren't too keen on. I thought, like I said, I said I could go for years without a series and not feel lost, but I actually did. But anyway, a new decade came, 2020, the start of a new era, and Doctor Who returned with a two-part episode. Even though New Year's Day fell on a Wednesday, we would get the second episode the following Sunday, and it would go back to being on Sundays, and we had a two-parter. And my God, I loved it. I loved the big twist when the Master returned, now played by Sacha Dhawan. When I saw that on New Year's Day, my jaw dropped, and I was like, holy shit, he's a man again. And I was like, it's the Master. I love that. I love that. That was probably the best opening episode of a series from Jodie Whittaker's era. So yeah, we got the Master back. We even got other classic creatures come back, like the Jadoon, and even Captain Jack Harkness, which was a nice surprise as well. I really liked that. John Barrowman actually returning as Captain Jack. It was a nice surprise. Of course, we never would see him interact with the 13th Doctor till New Year's Day 2021. So, yeah. But also that episode, we were introduced to another incarnation of the Doctor. In the episode Fugitive of the Jadoon, the fugitive was a woman named Ruth, and we was wondering, what is she a fugitive for? We do find out eventually that she is a Time Lord or Time Lady. But I was not prepared for what she who she said she was, and she was the Doctor. She was on the run from Division, and, you know, Jodie Whittaker's Doctor thinking maybe she's a Doctor from her future, but then the fugitive Doctor has no memory of her. What was this? Well, in the Series 12 finale, we came across one of the most controversial moments of Jodie Whittaker's era, the Timeless Children. And it was then the Master taking the Doctor into the Matrix on Gallifrey. We also saw the return of the Cybermen in Jodie Whittaker's era, with a new shape as well, a new form, which I thought, okay, yeah, a new polish with the Cybermen. They look kind of more classic-y as well. But of course, the Master was the main villain throughout this, two-part finale, and we see that it was revealed that the Timeless Child, who was found by an explorer called Tactayun, took her in and raised her, and then she regenerated after falling from a great height, and Tactayun extracted and researched for the longest time, and yeah, she cracked the code of regeneration. And then who was this Timeless Child? It was revealed to be the Doctor. So everything that we knew about the Doctor was just, yeah. Turns out those Morbius Doctors were kind of canon, and the fugitive Doctor fits somewhere in between. So, yeah. I mean, the show had dropped so much differences and change into the mythology of the show before in the past. Like, it wasn't until John Pertwee's era he mentioned Gallifrey, or Patrick Troughton's era we met the Time Lords, or 1976, it was mentioned that a Time Lord has 12 regenerations. So I was like, oh god, this is going to completely change the walks of the show forever. Like, William Hartnell is no longer the first Doctor, but I say that anything before Hartnell is not the Doctor. So he still is the original, you might say. But no one can ever take that away from William Hartnell. He will always be the first actor ever to play the Doctor on screen. And back when he was the Doctor, we knew very little about him. So yes. And yeah, the Doctor will come to that revelation. Of course, in that finale, after fighting off the Cybermen, the Cyber Masters, which were Time Lord Cybermen hybrids, because the Master went on a genocidal rampage on Gallifrey, destroying everything because he found that truth out. We then had the finale where it ended on a bit of a cliffhanger, and it wouldn't be until New Year's Day 2021 where the Doctor encounters a whole fleet of Daleks. But of course, after this, the pandemic hit hard, of course. Bleak time in recent memories, I know. Yeah. But they managed to wrap up the New Year special, Revolution of the Daleks, before all that happened. So we got the Daleks return, we got Captain Jack return, we got that business guy return. And then we were teased a new companion at the end of that special, Dan Lewis, played by comedian John Bishop. So Bradley Walsh and Tosin Cole also stepped down at that time and left the show as companions. And then eventually later that year on Halloween 2021, we would be introduced to Dan Lewis in an episode called The Halloween Apocalypse. And this series, Series 13, which was titled Flux, which was a 6-part serial. So for the first time in nearly 30 years, we had a serialized story arc throughout one full series, which last time we had something like that was the Trial of a Time Lord in Colin Baker's era. Yeah, the Flux, which was an event that would wipe out everything, and apparently set up by Tactayun, because we see Tactayun return as well in this, and more on the Timeless Child arc. And we see new enemies, we see Sarntarans, Cybermen, Daleks, and stuff. And yeah, the Flux series. And then when that series ended, we then came to 2022 where we had no series, but we got treated to 3 specials. So New Year's Day 2022, we had another adventure with the Doctor and the Daleks, where we had a whole time reset thing, and I think was the conclusion of a trilogy, because Chris Chibnall's specials were always on the Daleks on New Year's Day. So yeah, we got the Daleks back again, and that was the last time we had a Dalek field episode, where we had the Daleks featured, just them. And then in the Easter of 2022, we got the return of another old foe or monster, the Sea Devils, in a special called Legend of the Sea Devils. And then in 2022, in October of that year, October 23rd, 2022, Jodie Whittaker returned for her final special, The Power of the Doctor, where, the Master, the Daleks, and the Cybermen all came together with faces from the past also coming into the show, into this special. So it was about an hour and a half, a feature-length episode, and yeah, if Chris Chibnall was saving his best writing for last, well, he succeeded in that, because I thought this has probably been his best writing in Doctor Who for a long time. But also that year, Jodie Whittaker announced that she would be leaving. Not only would she be leaving, but Chris Chibnall would also be stepping down as showrunner, because, yeah, so the lead actors would leave with the showrunner. So, yeah. And it was up in the air. Who's next? And for what was the longest wait to see who would be the Doctor in the show's history, it was revealed that year we would have sex education star Ncuti Gatwa take over as the Doctor full time. So yeah, I mean, we had Ruth, or Joe Martin, played the fugitive Doctor, who was like the first black actor to play an incarnation of the Doctor, but taking on the role full time as a black actor would be Ncuti Gatwa, who would be the next, well, the fourth Scottish actor to play the role, because yeah, he's Scottish. Well, has a Scottish background. So yeah, he would be next, but we all thought he would be next. You see, after Chris Chibnall was stepping down, it was announced that former showrunner Russell T Davies would return to lead the show again, thinking that ratings had dropped, quality had not been the same since Chibnall took over and Moffat left and that. So they, brought back Russell T Davies to give the show the spark it needed. But at the end of that special, when Jodie Whittaker's Doctor was shot down by the Master, she bidded farewell to her companions, including Yasmin Khan, who was probably one of the few companions that stayed with the Doctor throughout their entire run. Mandip Gill did, and she was with her throughout all her adventures. So, yeah. We even had a tease like, that she's falling for the Doctor, a whole love, will they, won't they thing, but nothing ever became of that. But yeah, Chibnall wrapped it up the best he could. We got cameos from past companions. We had Tegan and Ace return as well. We had a good special there. And at the end, when she gives into her regeneration, does she regenerate into Ncuti Gatwa straight away? No. Because before Ncuti Gatwa was revealed to be taking over, there were rumours circulating that David Tennant would return to be the 14th Doctor. And what do you know, those rumours were true. Although it was a year away, and we had to wait a year and 1 month for this, David Tennant returned as the 14th Doctor. Also, the BBC had struck a deal with Disney to stream the show on Disney Plus, outside of the UK, so they would get better money and a better budget and stuff to make better effects. So yeah, with the 60th anniversary specials coming in 2023, with Ncuti Gatwa busy filming the final season of Sex Education, also him getting the part on a whim, because apparently he was the last actor to audition for the role and won over Russell T Davies. But he had a few scheduling commitments he had to do before he could do Doctor Who. So in the November of 2023, the show hit 60 years old, the longest running science fiction show in history. And we were treated to 3 specials, where David Tennant, for the first time ever in the show's history, is the first and up to now the only actor to play 2 separate incarnations of the Doctor. And for those 3 specials, we got to pay a visit from the old favourites.